Living in an RV is tight. It's tiny, it's sometimes uncomfortable, and especially in a travel trailer when you don't have the headspace, making use of your space is really important. So today we're going to go through 10 different things that can help you make your space feel bigger. Step into my office. Welcome back to No Ordinary Path. I am Kristen. This is my office, and that is my house back there. You can kind of sort of see it. It is a 37-foot travel trailer, and we've been traveling in it for 3.5 years with our 3 kids and a dog. My husband is an ICU nurse. John is at his very first day on contract here in Phoenix, Arizona. So if you're following our journey, this coming weekend, we're going to take you through Colorado, and then next week we'll finally get to Phoenix, all caught up with what we're doing now and what our plans are while we're here in Phoenix. We are on our 12th contract. So we have put a lot of miles on our little tiny house on wheels, and we have some experience in how we make it feel a little bit bigger. I just want to be clear that these tips are not actually going to necessarily give you more space. Sometimes there's just not much you can do about a small space, but they will make it feel like it's bigger. And stay tuned to the end because I'm going to reveal a little secret that our NOP-EEPs already know. Number 1 is lighting. You want to make sure that inside your RV you have a nice, bright space. Now, I know when you're staying in someplace super hot or someplace super cold that you're going to want to insulate your windows, cover them up. But I will tell you, if you have any kind of like seasonal depression or anything like that, that opening that up during the day to let the light in will help your mood feel better. It will help your space feel bigger. So make sure that you allow that natural light to come in and that you have good lighting inside your RV. Don't be afraid to add a lamp or to change out your bulbs to make it a different, more comfortable light for you to make your space feel more comfortable and bigger. Number 2 is mirrors. Mirrors are nothing new for magicians. They do all kinds of tricks with mirrors, and you can do the same kinds of tricks inside your RV to make it feel a little bit bigger. So what we have done is we hang a mirror on one of our doors that's kind of in the main entryway, and it makes our space kind of feel a little bit more elongated. And we used to have a second mirror hanging on my bedroom door so that if both doors were closed, they would kind of like make it feel like a never-ending room. It's really just a trick of the eye, but it does do something to your mind to make it feel like you have a little bit bigger space. So the next one is to keep it clean. Now, I know this one is hard because it's really easy to make a mess in the RV. Now, people say all the time, it's easy to clean, it's easy to clean, it takes no time at all, which is sort of true, but it's just as easy, if not easier, to make a huge mess. So one thing that I tell my kids all the time, and I make them repeat it, not that they're good at it, we say, don't put it down, put it away. When you're finished with something, don't put it down, put it away. We still struggle with this with my kids all the time, and with myself too, but don't come inside the house and kick your shoes off, put them away. Don't put your cup on the counter, put it like in the sink, or wash it and put it away. Thing is if you don't put things away, it piles up so fast. Another thing is, when I was a kid, my dad always taught me that if I just make my bed, even if I don't clean the rest of my room, if I just make my bed, then everything else will feel a little bit cleaner and feel nicer. And I have found that to be true my whole life. And so even though I'm a pretty sloppy person, if you didn't know, I always make my bed. So I try to encourage my kids to do it. Not that they do it all the time, but it will make your space feel a little bit bigger if you can keep your beds made and keep things picked up as best you can. I say all these things, but I want you to know we are not a perfect family, and we still make messes. Organize. Definitely make sure that everything has a space. Now, you don't have to go so far as to label every little thing. I went overboard in the beginning. I have a little label gun. I label everything, and it was helpful, but it was also a little bit OCD-ish, and it didn't stick in the long run. So you don't have to go that crazy, but make sure that you know where things go and that you always have a place. They don't always have to stay that way. You can rearrange it and reorganize it, because Lord knows we have rearranged 1,000 times on the road. But the bottom line, make sure that things have a place to be put away and that you're not leaving stuff out on the counter. Because I have found that anything like clutter that's left around that's outside, like out on the counter, out on the table, out on the nightstand, whatever it is, any kind of clutter makes it feel just tighter. So we like to keep our surfaces cleared off when possible to get to make it feel bigger. Make an outdoor space. This is our tent that we got when we were in Alaska. This is a Cabela's Quickset canopy, and it is 12.5 feet in diameter. We love this tent so much. We have a link for it, but unfortunately it's unavailable right now. But Clam makes one that is very similar. In fact, Cabela's used the Clam design. I looked on Amazon and Clam does have one. The thing that we love about this is that the sides roll up. Like, you don't have to buy separate panels. The original Clams came with panels that you have to put on them. This one just rolls up, and they have these little clips on the outside that you can anchor down to the ground. And guys, we had a huge windstorm come through last night. In fact, I had to clean up before I filmed because everything had a layer of dust on it in here. But the tent made it through. It is staked down everywhere right now. This has been a really great area for us to have to do school. I will edit out here, and it just is a really great place to sit and relax. It's not inside, so you have a little bit more elbow room. Another thing that we do sometimes is that we'll take things that are inside and store them outside. So when we're gonna be sitting somewhere for a while, like we're here for 2 weeks, we will move our washer, dryer, spin wash dryer that we have stored in our bathroom. We'll move it outside and put it underneath this table over here. See that black cover? We'll put it outside so that we're not like tripping over it all the time. Now if we're moving fast, that's not an option, but if we're gonna be in a spot for a little bit, we'll store some stuff outside. Inside of the RV, another one to do is to paint. You can paint it or get an RV when you're shopping for it, something that has a really light interior. It used to be that a lot of RVs were so dark when you buy them, and I think a lot of them now are going lighter, so there's probably more on the market that are like kind of a light bright color. But if it's not, you can paint your cabinets. We painted ours white, and we have done touch-ups to it since then. So if you want to see our original versus now, like our renovation, you can check out that video up there. But we are so much happier with the white, and immediately it made it feel like a bigger space. Next one is your window treatments. Now, I know a lot of the newer RVs have like the blackout shades already built in and those kinds of things. We had just kind of a crummy accordion shades, and they had these gigantic valances over the top. And I think that's supposed to make it feel fancier, but like we're not fancy at all. So the very first thing before we even took our first trip in it was to get rid of the boxy valances. I could not stand them. Now our RV when we bought it was a brand new RV. It was we got it in 2018. At the time it was fresh off the line, and it still had those really big, huge, boxy, ugly valances. So I don't know if they still make them that way, but we got rid of those, and it immediately made it feel like our slide space was so much bigger. Get rid of bulky stuff, right? If you have a big, huge dinette and you never make it into a bed, take the dinette out. And that's what we did. We took out our big, bulky eating area, and we have replaced it a couple of times to try to make it fit our family needs a little bit better, but it does open up space. You do get rid of some of that storage space, but let me tell you, when you start figuring out how to live lighter and not have as much stuff with you, you don't need all that extra storage space. The other thing we got rid of was the big bulky oven range above our stove. Oven hood above our range, I guess I should say. We found out it didn't vent anywhere. One thing I will say that it did do is it trapped the grease as it went up, and that we do have some grease now under our cabinets. We just have to make sure that we wipe that down. But the before and after is quite incredible, and it did free up space. It made it feel a lot bigger in our very small kitchen area. Purging. Purging doesn't happen just in the very beginning. Purging happens throughout your entire experience on the road. And that means like every time we do travel nurse contracts, and they're 13 weeks. So at the end of each contract, we always go through and we say, what are we using? If we're not using it, we have to get rid of it. And there's always some exceptions to that rule, but you kind of have to be a little strict with yourself. Anything that you're not using very often, you don't want to haul it around with you all the time. So make sure that you're not holding on to things that you aren't using and that are just taking up space and weight. finally is try to minimalize the impulse buying, which is so hard for me to do. But when you're going shopping and stuff, I don't know about you guys, but I'm always like, ooh, that'd be so nice. That'd be fun to have. And I don't fully think through like, where am I going to store that? Where's it going to go? You know, so we try to go by a rule of if something comes in, if we're bringing something into the RV, then we need to be getting rid of something as well, for weight reasons and for space reasons. Am I going to be able to store that well? Like, we got this tent and we were really excited about it, and it folds down really compactly, but it's still pretty big when it's folded down. It goes all the way across our basement. So we did make space for it, but that meant that we had to get rid of some of the things that we were storing in our basement. So that's something that you need to think about, and try not to go overboard with those impulse buys and all these extra things. Like, I used to buy kitchen appliances because I'd be like, ooh, that air fryer looks so cool. Well, I don't have a space for an air fryer anymore. So those kinds of things, I just have to be like, okay, in this season of my life, I probably don't need an air fryer. So I guess this is a freebie tip number 11, is if you just can't make it work, then just get a different RV. I think it's just a natural progression to grow out of RVs. Like, I'm not really sure I know any RV family that's still in the same RV that they started with like 4 or 5 years later. I really wanted us to be one of those people that just made Wendy last. And last year we upgraded her so that we could make her last even longer, but I don't think she's gonna make it. I told you I had some news. I don't know if John's gonna like that I'm telling you guys this without him, because we were supposed to do this video together and it was just so windy that we couldn't yesterday. But, dun 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 dun, Phoenix is going to be Wendy's last huzzah. We have decided that we will not be leaving Phoenix with the same RV. I'm gonna leave it at that because we have more surprises and things coming up in the future, and we can't wait to take you shopping with us for multiple reasons and multiple things. So stay tuned with us as we unfold all of the things coming in the next couple of weeks. We're so glad that you're here. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you out there. Okay, I think that wind is coming back. I'm gonna have to close this thing back up. I wanna know, what are your tips? What makes your tiny living space feel bigger to you? Let me know in the comments. Okay, did I say 10? Did I say 10 things? Because I lost count.